Hello,
Hello,
and welcome to
the Two Cents Podcast, our new podcast where we're getting more transparent than ever with all of you and letting you in on a little bit of the behind the scenes of what it's like to run Salary Transparent Street, what we've learned on the road, which is basically the theme of this episode is road trips,
road trips.
traveling.
Perfect timing, too.
We made an announcement in last week's episode that we are going on tour. So if you stuck around to the end, we really appreciate you listening to us in full
Yep.
and
Thank you,
sticking
guys.
around for that announcement. So, cat's out of the bag. We're going on tour. By now, we have already hit New York City, but coming up next, we've got
I'm not even sure. The Big E.
the Big
Yeah, we
E.
have the Big E. There you go.
We've got the Big E, we've got New Orleans, we've got the Texas State Fair,
Yep.
then
Looking
we've
forward to that.
got, yeah, Salem, Massachusetts, Boston,
Love Boston.
Richmond, and then we're ending in Georgetown in DC. But we also want to extend the tour. So if we missed a couple states or cities, if you want us to go to your city, let us know in the comments because we are going around and tallying, the most popular cities that people mention because we do have plans to extend the tour, which is why this episode we're going to be talking all about kind of like road trip
Yeah, kind of like our,
stories.
our travel our travel stories. Yeah.
Yeah, we have had many interesting interactions with people on the road. We have had many funny instances happen, and they were kind of traumatic at the time, I guess, like
For
bummers.
you.
Definitely bummers at the time, but now we look back and we kind of laugh about it. So we figured we'll tell you a little bit. We've been traveling a little over 2 years now. We've been to how many states?
25.
I think close to 25, if not 20. When we first started, can you believe that we were trying to hit all 50 states?
Yeah, that was a wild, wild ride. But by all means, I meant we were dreaming big. So,
Yeah, gotta dream big, but we were way in over our
yeah.
heads.
But that's also because, like you and I, we both love to just get stuff out of the way.
Mhm.
And us hitting all 50 states in the first year would have been like an accomplishment because, like, we did it. But then also, like, all right, we did every state. So now we could just pick and choose where we want to go.
Before we get started, though, I do wanna share a little bit of a PSA because I don't know, we don't see ourselves as famous by any means.
I'm a regular guy.
We are regular, degular people. Like, it's just bizarre to us that we're in this position. So please see us that way because we've had some interesting, uncomfortable interactions with quote unquote fans, like
Yeah.
people in our community. Tell us about the recent one, James.
Well, I mean, like, there's so many, right? So the last one, where were we?
We were at the Mystics
Yeah, at the
game.
Mystics game, which we've gotten recognized a few times while we were there, which isn't a big deal. We know when you recognize us. Let us just say that. We know when you recognize us.
We
So,
can hear it.
yeah,
At
so
this
go
point, our
in.
ears have peaked that if we hear like Salary or TikTok or Hannah, I'm like, somebody in the vicinity has recognized me. And it's very awkward to know you've been recognized because you're like, do I say something? Like,
Yeah.
do I go introduce myself? What did these people do?
They
Don't
decide
do
yeah,
this.
they decided, right? Because like she said, we can hear it. Like we know who you're talking
There
about.
weren't that many people around, so we actually knew
But
exactly who it was too.
one of the girls proceeds to go and points and just points. And
Yeah.
like we can hear them talking. So she's like, Salary Transparent Street points at us.
Looks right at
We
me.
see it.
Looks
We
right
see
at
it.
me. Points at me to her friend. We're making eye contact and goes, "That's that girl from TikTok."
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her like,
Hello?
"Hey, like that's me. Hi." And it was awkward because I was thinking, "Okay, she's going to say hi, like she knows who we are, so like let me go over and introduce myself." And then they immediately like stale-faced like just stopped pointing and just didn't act like they even, that
Yeah,
we were
didn't
there
like yeah,
anymore.
they didn't
And it
care
was so
afterwards.
awkward because it was like we were still there,
Yeah.
so I was like, "Do you want to say hi? Do you not want to say hi?" It was just weird to be recognized and then somebody like blatantly point at you in public, say that they know who you are, and then just ignore you. I don't know anybody who would do that to somebody they actually personally
Yeah,
know, so I don't
definitely
know why
not.
it's acceptable to
Yeah.
do it to us.
But no, we have with that though, we have had great interactions.
Oh my god,
Yeah. We
99.9% are
love
great.
when you come up and say hi, especially
Yeah.
like if you have a story to tell us. We had this one girl come up while we were actually not even working. We were just out and about. So the girl proceeds to see us and she goes, "Are you that girl from Salary Transparency Street?" Which all you can say. Um, but we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's us. Like we're just out walking our dogs and everything like that. And like we proceeded to have like a small conversation about what
Mhm.
she did, and how she like values our videos. That we always appreciate because putting out content, you're kind of asking for feedback from that.
Yeah.
So hearing that somebody took what we did and applied it to their own life,
Mhm.
and then it grew for the better, whatever it was. I think that's a great thing. I always
Mhm.
love hearing how we inspire people.
It's so validating to what we do as
Yeah,
well. Like you said, we don't just put out content and not think about how people receive it, how it affects them. That's kind of the whole
that's
point.
the point of content
Is
creation.
we want to help people. So it's so nice. It makes my day. I could be having the worst day and somebody say hi and tell me, how the page has helped them. And it's just the ultimate mood booster. So I'm not saying come say hi to us and tell us your story selfishly, although it is a little selfish.
Sometimes, if you see my headphones on, don't bother me.
But we do really love when people come say hi to us.
Yeah,
We don't really love being treated like zoo animals, which is so bizarre to say because I just don't even consider us as famous, like
yeah.
compared to the caliber of creators out there. But some people fangirl when they meet us, and we don't know how to react to that either. Like I fangirl over creators that I follow too. So we're both in this new spot. It's best that we just go through it together.
Yeah.
Come say hi, freak out over me, I'll freak out over
That's
you.
what I was getting ready to say, is like, let us do the fangirling over
Yeah,
it.
we'll share a hug, I'll give
Yeah.
you a sticker, we'll get a picture, and we'll be on our way. So if you don't wanna do an interview and you see us on the street at any time, please come say hi. Say whatever you want, get it off your chest, tell us you hate your boss, tell us that you're underpaid and you need help,
Yeah.
whatever we can help you with, we live for that.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
without further ado, let's get into some of our funny stories from past trips we've been on.
Yeah.
I'd say the one that really sticks out to me that happened quite recently was the Kia electric car
Oh,
incident
man.
in
Oh,
Atlanta.
man.
So we were going to Atlanta, Georgia for a quick overnight trip. We were going to a conference called Render ATL. It was a tech
Yeah.
conference. They
Yeah,
invited
render.
us out to come do some interviews. So we fly from DCA to Atlanta, and we got a rental car because we had, wanted to go from the airport, obviously, into the city, but we wanted to go around and do some interviews. So we are proud owners of a Kia. I love
I
our
love
Kia.
Kias. Yeah.
My family has always had Kias. They had a Rio, they had a Sportage, and now we have a Seltos. Love Kias. I think that they are so reliable. They're great cars. The turning radius is fantastic. Also,
Unmatched.
hashtag unpaid. We're not sponsored by Kia. We're just big fans. And so we are also interested in electric cars. And whenever we travel and we get a rental car, we try the new rental
Yeah.
cars or
Yeah.
the new electric cars. We've tried a Polestar,
Loved it.
we tried a Tesla, hated
Hated
it.
it.
We've tried the Ford
Mach
Mach-E,
E. Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. I love
Yeah.
that one.
We've
Yeah.
also driven a Land Rover, or a Subaru,
Yeah,
sorry,
Subaru.
which was
And
awesome.
we drove the Jeep Gladiator.
Yes. I didn't like
I didn't
that
care for that
one.
one either.
Yeah. Sidetracked. So we decide to get a Kia electric car. It was the Niro.
We got the Nero.
Because back when we were shopping for a car, we were actually thinking about getting the Niro, but we decided against it. So we were like, let's get it as a rental car. I should have known something was wrong when at the counter, when we're getting the car, she's like, oh, you got an electric car? And I was like, yeah, like we like to test them,
Yeah.
we
See
enjoy
see
it.
what we like.
And she was like, okay, like definitely not giving me a lot of confidence
Yeah.
in this car, but I'm like, I don't, I've never had any issues. So it'll be fine. And keep in mind, when we've driven all these other cars, they're all rental cars. So, us renting an electric car, we've done it many times, never had any issues. It's
With
always gone
any of
without a
them.
hitch. So, we're not thinking anything's going to go wrong with this. We get the keys to the car, we go out there, we take off. Everything is fine until we're about a couple miles down
Yeah,
the
we
highway
weren't even 10 minutes away from the rental car spot.
in the middle of rush hour traffic in Atlanta, Georgia. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. The car starts slowing down, and we were going like 65
We were on
miles
the
per hour. We were
expressway.
on the expressway, and it starts telling me the car is being limited.
Yeah.
Like it pops up on the dash. Car cannot go past
Yeah, like
55
speed
miles per hour.
speedo limit.
Speed limited. Speed limited. And I feel the car forcefully slowing down. And I'm thinking, okay, it's not so bad. Maybe it is not happy that I'm speeding.
Right.
It's bringing me
They
back
got a
down to
they
the
monitor
speed
it
limit.
now.
Right. It's like, girl, slow down. No, it keeps slowing down to the point that we're going 5 miles per hour
Yeah,
on the
because it
expressway.
was slowing down on its own. Like every time we seen the speed limit sign, it was slowing down 10 miles per hour on its own every single time.
Mhm.
And then we got all the way down to 10 and the car just stopped.
Yeah.
And we were on the expressway. Cars just flying by. We're like,
Going 70 miles per hour
we
and we're
cannot
going
do
5
anything.
miles per hour. We kept going because I'm thinking, the
It'll
car's
pick
gonna
up.
speed up, maybe it's overheating or something, and it didn't. Eventually, it full on stopped.
Hmm.
Full on stopped in the middle of the highway, and we're trying to call, the sales desk back, the help desk, and
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, this car, we just got it. It was fine. Now it's not fine. We are stopped on the side of the highway. What do we do?" Long story short, we get off the highway. We are in this neighborhood that looks a little sketch. I don't know Atlanta that well. So that
Yeah.
was what
Oh,
was
definitely not.
scary is when you're in a city that you don't know which areas are good, which areas are bad. It's tough to have your street smarts about you. And we ended up waiting for another hour in a parking lot in
Of an
this
advanced auto parts
of
parking lot.
advanced auto parts. So they tell us that a tow truck is coming to get us and the car and take us back to the airport. Tow truck comes like 30 minutes later. Keep in mind, we have to be at this event, so we're losing time
And patience.
and patience. 30 minutes later, the tow truck comes. The man was so nice, but he tells us, I'm not here for you. I'm here for the
Yeah,
car.
he's like, I'm a mechanic. I'm taking it right to the shop.
Yeah, he's like, "We're not going back to the airport. I'm taking this to the shop." And he's like, "You have to call them and get them to take you back to the airport." At which point they inform us that they don't do that. That
Yeah.
we have to get an Uber on our own to go back to the airport, even though they let us off their lot with a car that didn't even work.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the terrible part too. Is
Yeah.
that like
And we
there
never got our money
yeah,
back.
there was nothing we did to the car. There was nothing we could have done. Pretty sure it was probably like a ECU problem or something, but
Yeah. And when we get back, this same lady is at the desk and she's like, "Hmm, I bet you guys ran into problems, huh?" I've never wanted to take an act of violence against a help desk worker
yeah,
before, but she really tested my patience there.
I think that was her point.
Yeah, right.
But
But
yeah.
long story short, don't rent a car or an electric vehicle from Dollar Rental because that's who it was. They never gave us our money back. They said that it was entirely our fault because the car had issues that we didn't cause that were not apparent to us when we got off the lot. Make that make sense.
Right. I don't know why they would hand out a car that's broken in the first place. You didn't
Mhm.
say what she said though. She was like, "Oh, so I told you not to get
That's
the
what she
EV."
said.
Yeah.
She said, "I told you not to get the EV."
Yep.
I saw red. I saw red.
Yeah, that was a long day, but then render went well, stuff
Render
like
went
that.
well.
Yeah.
So, another story, James, tell us about the lady we met in San Francisco who worked in HR.
Oh,
This one's not so
yeah. It's
funny,
not so funny.
but
It's
I think
actually
it's important.
yeah, it's pretty disheartening actually. So we're in San Francisco doing our thing, walking around asking people, "What do you do? How much do you make?" She proceeds to go,
That's
"That's illegal."
illegal. Flat out. That's illegal. So I'm like, okay, let's back up, let's figure out what's going on here. Cause also she was hostile.
Yeah,
She
she's
was
very
not
hostile right off the
nice.
bat.
She was not nice. So, James, do you remember where she worked?
And she proceeds to say that she is an HR.
She's an HR director.
HR director.
Keep in mind, this is California. The pay transparency law in California had already passed.
It's been
It's
passed.
been passed. And so what did I say to her after that?
He's like, that's so sad. Like, I mean, but
Yeah.
it's the truth though, because that's her job.
I proceeded to tell her what the law was. And then she was just kind of like angry about it. And her friend walked off.
So then, like, we continue doing what we usually do, but she was still in eye shot of us. So like, as we're talking with other people, we see that her and her friend are huddled over her phone,
On the other corner.
vigorously scrolling, like looking at
Yeah.
what I can only assume is the law,
They're
and
Googling.
yeah, and like she looks up at us, sees that we're still looking at her, and looks back down, and then they go the other way.
Yeah, which means that she had probably been Googling the law, thought to come back around and give us a
Yeah, oh,
piece of her
she's
mind.
gonna try to.
And then she realized that we were right, that the law actually does allow for pay transparency in California,
Yeah.
and that as an HR director, it is shocking that she didn't know the law. And I think why we tell this story as frequently as we can is that I want to stress how important it is for you not to rely on other people to know what
Yes.
your rights are, even people that you would expect to be in your corner. I didn't think that a company would willingly underpay me $25,000 when they told me, "You're the best on the team. We love you. We value you, your family." But they did.
Yeah.
In that same vein, companies are not responsible for making sure that you are paid fairly because there's no law requiring it. And
Yeah.
that's why we do what we do.
Exactly.
You need to know what your rights are because you very well might have an HR director who doesn't know what they are.
I mean, that's sad.
That's sad.
Yeah.
As I told her. I think that's why she caught an attitude because she was like, "This bitch."
Who do you think you are, child?
I know the law better than you. That's sad. Okay. Other fun ones. One time we went to Vegas
And it snowed.
and it snowed.
First day in Vegas too. I was so
We had
disappointed.
2 days in Vegas and we were like, let's do 2 days so we have extra time just in case, the interviews don't do so well. And it snowed hard. It snowed the whole day.
Yeah.
The whole day. I remember just so clearly. I can even remember like the emotions and stuff of being in our hotel room, like locked up because we couldn't go anywhere.
And it's
Vegas
Vegas.
isn't
So
like,
like we didn't
yeah.
bring like a winter coat for Vegas. But
Yeah.
apparently next
I
time I
think
will.
it was like January or February
Yeah.
too. So, not unheard of, but like
But it's Vegas. So I
we
wasn't
go to
expecting.
Vegas for the first time and it snows. Very, very bad luck.
Yeah. And then the next day we
Then
got we got 2 interviews total.
yes, we got 2 interviews in 48 hours, 24 of which we were holed up in our hotel room
Yeah.
because it was a blizzard outside. But then one of the ladies that we interviewed actually canceled. So we only walked away with 1 interview. And tell us why it was so hard to get interviews, James, for
Um
people who might not
yeah, I
understand.
mean for those of you who don't know, like Vegas always has people on the street.
Mhm.
Um
If you've ever
Club
been.
promotions, uh
Ladies and
ladies
their
and yeah, the
feathers.
feathered ladies. So everybody's trying to get you to do something for them, right?
Here, take this. Here, take
Take
that.
this.
Here,
Let's
come
take a
with me. Let's
picture.
do
You know,
this.
whoop
Yeah.
whoop.
That's
Um,
what we kinda do.
yeah, right, right. So I mean, like that kind of makes it more difficult because as soon as we get ready to walk up to somebody, it's Vegas. You're so used to saying no because you don't want to be bothered by people trying to sell you something, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, everybody just kept saying no. And then we finally had 2 people who were like, yeah, I'll do it. One of them canceled and the other one didn't. So
C'est
that
la
was
vie.
Vegas.
The next time we came back to Vegas was last year, or was it this year? It
It
was
was
this
this
year
year.
because the Super Bowl was this year.
Yeah,
So the next time we went back to Vegas was, what was that, April or
I
something?
think so.
We went back for the Super Bowl because we were going to ask people how much they
That
spent
was
on their
February then.
tickets. But we got our content, we got everything we needed, and we thought, let's go closer to the arena to see if we can get people like going right into the stadium, people, fans and stuff.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't plan well for that. I did the time wrong, and I was
Yeah.
so, we're on East Coast in the DC area, and, yeah, I timed our entire day according to East Coast and didn't adjust for the Vegas change. So
Yeah.
when we got there, I was like, "Man, there's no fans out, like, they shouldn't be starting for another, like, 2 or 3 hours." It had started.
Yeah.
It actually ended up being the most happy mistake.
Yeah, it was super nice. Because with that, like we ended up going over to the stadium, and it was just one of those entrances where like you have to walk all the way down to the stadium and stuff, but we were still in the street part.
And you had to have a ticket to
Yeah,
get past a
right. And you
certain
had to have
point.
a ticket.
So we're standing there, and there's just a bunch of random people going by. We're trying to see if we could get interviews with anybody. And somebody walks by, and I'm like, that looks like the Kid Leroy. Like, and I'm not the biggest Kid Leroy fan, but I know what face that when I see a face, I know a face.
yeah.
And so I saw him, and I'm like, damn, like he's just walking around here without security. Like it can't
Actually,
be
yeah, he
him
was by himself too, which
with
was
his
so
with his girlfriend or whoever the woman was with him. I kick myself because I keep thinking that I'm certain the lady that was with him was Tate McRae, but
Mm.
now I'm like, I don't know, I didn't look close enough, but I definitely saw him, which was our first like flag that we were in an area with
Yeah.
celebrities, but
Yeah.
we didn't realize it yet. So we keep doing what we do, and then a black SUV rolls up. And who comes out, James?
Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav. All these fans come rushing him. He had the clock, like
Yeah. It was
everything.
super cool too, cause like he just hopped out in the middle of the street. I think he had a security guard with him too, though.
Yeah.
But like people just walking up to him, asking for pictures and stuff like that, and he was open and like
Mhm.
he was super nice about it, and then went
Mhm.
about his business afterwards. So like I really respected him for that, cause he definitely showed love to the people who
Mhm.
helped support him.
He got like a picture with everybody that swarmed him. Yeah.
Granted, it was a bunch of like older ladies, but
Yeah, that might be.
yeah, that might
He
be
he did have
the
that show,
aunties and the
right?
great aunties popping out.
We're looking around and we see a lot more of black SUVs, and we realize that we're in like the celebrity entrance.
Yeah, it was like right where all of their drivers parked because they all have their own vehicles and stuff. But like, yeah, their drivers would park in this parking lot, and
Mhm.
then on the road that we were standing on, right across the street from us,
Mhm.
they were just
They were just
walking
getting
down the
out of their
sidewalk.
SUVs and walking
Yeah,
towards the stadium, and it was so cool. I think at that point we were like, "Okay, we're
yeah,
done.
we were done
We're
interviewing.
done interviews.
That was
Now we're on
yeah,
Celebrity Stakeout.
right.
Let's hang out here for another hour before we have to head
Well,
to the
remember we met
airport."
that the one security guard. She was
Yes, she
so
was
sweet.
so sweet.
Um,
Shout out to her
yeah,
if
I can't
for
remember her
any
name,
reason
but
she's listening. We made buddies with one of the security guards that worked for the company, that was doing security, and she's like, "I always try to get like this section
yeah,
because this is the celebrity section, like or the celebrity stakeout." And she was telling us like showing us pictures of people she's gotten like photos with and
yeah.
stuff, and we ended up seeing Jelly Roll,
Jelly Roll.
his
He
wife.
responded to you.
Yes. What did I say?
I think you asked him who he was rooting for.
Oh, yeah, I was like, "Jelly Roll, like, who are you rooting for?" And he said, a player's name, I don't even remember. George something. Roll the clip. Who are you rooting for? Let's go. Thanks, Jelly. And then we saw Machine Gun Kelly and
And Megan
Megan
Fox.
Fox,
Yeah.
and then this is where the story gets embarrassing for me. You
Yeah.
tell it, I can't tell it.
So
I can't.
so we're standing there, right, and we're watching everybody walk through. And then one of the Migos hops out of a vehicle and is walking with his bodyguards, right? Hannah goes, which
No, no,
no, shut
no,
up,
they
shut up.
baited me.
Shut up.
They baited
Shut
me
up.
because you better tell the story about those guys who baited me.
So Hannah like looks and she's like, that's one of the Migos. Like, which one is that one? And I don't know who.
There were some guys around
I don't
us,
know who,
and somebody said
but
Quavo.
yeah,
And I
somebody was like
couldn't see
Quavo.
very well, like, because I'm short, obviously, so I can't, like, see who it is.
And she proceeds to go, Quavo, Quavo.
Quavo! Quavo!
Drop
It
it.
was not Quavo. It was Offset.
Yeah. And he looks right at her, gives like a little smirk, and then keeps walking.
He laughed.
Yeah.
At least he laughed.
He got a sense of humor, so that was
Yeah,
good.
and I felt really bad about it at first.
She was beat red with nervousness.
Well, 'cause,
Or not
like
nervousness, but like
Death.
embarrassment.
Embarrassment. Because, like, I know the difference, and it just looked so bad for
But
a white girl to be yelling
well,
the
it's
wrong
also
name, and I was like, "I hope people don't think I'm, like, racist." I don't know,
no,
like, I
I
just
think
felt
it's I
so
think it's
embarrassed.
more
I
so
was
like
so
the
embarrassed.
the ADHD in you.
Yes.
Because like you heard Quavo, so you went Quavo. Well, like
And you know what's funny is in my head, I had eventually realized that it was Offset.
Yeah.
Like I recognized it at a certain point, but my brain just kept saying Quavo
she said like 6 times.
because I was trying to get his attention for
Oh,
the
you
video.
definitely got it.
And I got it. Quavo! Quavo, who are you rooting for? Quavo, who are you rooting for? Oh, Offset!
What that clip reminds me of is of the either the squirrels or the gophers, whatever the hell they were.
Oh, Ellen!
Yeah,
Ellen!
Ellen. That's not Ellen. That's Steve.
Steve!
that was you.
That was
day.
me.
Yeah.
That was me. Oh, memories.
for those of you who don't know, our memories are terrible,
Yeah.
and we've traveled so much that, like, so many states just merge with one another, so,
Yeah.
like, in this instance, we had to write down a list
Mhm.
so that we can make sure that we hit these because
But I'm sure, like, literally 24 hours after this, we're gonna be like, "We forgot about this one."
Yeah,
So, yeah, if you see us in the street during the tour, hey, we'll talk about our memories if you have
yeah.
any questions or any fun memories
Wanna
from
share some and you
Boston.
want us to share with everybody else, let us know.
But
But yeah,
we've been kicked out a couple times from different places.
yeah,
We've been kicked out of,
Disney's
Mosaic
Disney
District,
Springs.
Disney Springs. We got kicked out of that spot in Vegas that we were getting really
Yeah.
good interviews at. Getting kicked out is not as scary as it sounds. Like, usually they just security will come up and be like, "What are you doing?"
You can't do that here.
Yeah, and they'll
Mhm.
they'll be like, "Do you guys have
Oh, it
permission
was
to
that
film
one spot that
here?"
where the Hello Kitty bus was.
We got kicked out of Cleveland too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that Cleveland shopping center. So yeah, we've been kicked out of Cleveland, Florida, Virginia, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think
about it.
we've been kicked out of a couple malls. They really
Cali,
don't like
cause
filming in malls. We
yeah,
got kicked out of Tyson's. But yeah, so we've been kicked out of a couple spots. Hopefully we don't get kicked out of more
right?
this time.
To us, it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, we're
Yeah.
just trying to do a good thing. And the reason that they usually give is like, "Oh, you gotta email so and so, to get
Mhm.
permission." And we're like, we know what happens whenever we just email these people. Then we get no responses. Period. So
Yeah.
now we're more on the, we'll just do it, and if they kick us out, they kick us out.
Yeah. Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah,
The other thing, which is us getting kind of personal here of who we are and the types of people we are and what we do, but we like to garden. If you don't know what gardening means, Urban Dictionary it. But yes, we are avid gardeners for various reasons
yeah,
that if you ever want to talk about it with us, we are more than happy to open that door with you in person, but we'll leave it at that.
yeah,
So we have had some interesting experiences on the road, gardening as well. We ran
yeah,
into a couple fans while I hate saying fans. It feels weird because I'm like,
yeah.
they're not fans, they're our friends. Like, you know what I
Fans.
mean? I'm gonna call them friends. We ran into some of our friends on the street while we've been taking a break or
Yeah,
wrapping the
wrapping
day,
up a
with a
day,
nice little sesh.
like little flower cigarette.
A little gardening session, and, one time we were in Chicago, and we love this place, we've been a couple times. You're from Chicago,
Yeah, I'm from
so,
Chicago, so
it's we
yeah.
know the area. There's a smoke shop coffee shop called Wake& and Bakery.
Oh, you're telling them this story.
We love the Wake& and
uh,
Bakery. It is so great. They're basically like a, garden infused coffee shop. You can
it's
get
definitely worth it. Check it out, please.
Definitely. If you are in the Chicago area, I don't know if they have more locations outside of Chicago, but I know they have a bunch in Chicago,
Yeah, because
and
we
they're
visited
wonderful.
two by now, and
Mhm.
yeah,
And they have, like, infused goodies and, like, infused drinks, and we just every time we go, we're like, "We have to stop at the Wake& Bakery." So, we stopped there. This was our most recent trip, actually.
yeah,
So, actually, the Wake& Bakery is right behind the flight attendant that we interviewed
yeah,
when we were in
yeah,
Chicago. So, if you want some lore, go watch the flight attendant video, and where she was standing, we went into the shop right behind her right after.
yeah,
So, we go into the shop, we get, some infused drinks. They were pretty strong because we were done for the day. So we start heading back to our hotel and we've got our drinks, so we're sipping on them and we took an Uber, mind you, whoever's thinking, "Oh my god, doing that and driving." We had an Uber. So we take this Uber to a shopping mall and we're feeling it. It's starting to
I
hit.
was gone before we even got there. I asked Buddy for like I don't know, it was like
Yeah, you
yeah,
got like a
yeah, it
medium.
was like it had like leaves to describe how potent it was. So I asked for like a medium because I was like, I still
It was
want to
like
be
a 3
aware.
out of
Yeah, I
5
was like, I still want to be
gardened.
aware, but like I feel like three put me in a nice mellow mood. He proceeds to hand me my drink, and all five of the leaves are filled, and he goes, "I put a little bit extra in there for you."
This is why you don't make friends at the smoke shop.
I'm like, yes, sounds good. But yeah, so we
So,
get to the mall.
you're already
I'm
gone.
zooted.
You're
I'm zooted.
zooted. You're zooted. And, we're just having a good time. We're walking around. We go into Sephora because I had to get some stuff at Sephora and
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel it. So I'm just kind of like looking at everything, like, in my own world, picking up everything, and just completely oblivious
Her
of
version of
what's
playing the game.
Yes, my version of turning my brain off and playing some Call of Duty, but I'm in Sephora, and
Yeah.
I'm playing Russian roulette with my credit card.
So before we got to the mall, like I said, I was already feeling it because I pretty much finished my drink.
Yeah.
Then she told me that she didn't want the rest of hers,
So you drank
so I
mine.
started drinking hers too. Right? We're in Sephora. I'm usually not a paranoid gardener, like I'm pretty relaxed. But like I'm in there and like my senses are just heightened, even though I'm zooted. Like senses are off the chart, and I'm like, damn, like it's why are these cops here?
Why are
What?
there cops in
Why are there cops
Sephora?
here? And meanwhile, she's still
Where did these cops come
do do
from?
do 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 do, just
That's
doing her
me.
thing, and I see the cops like handcuff and dragging this girl from the back of Sephora.
And I'm like, "Do you wanna smell this?
Yeah, right.
Do
She's
you
like,
smell this?"
she's like, oh my god, I got these. This is the travel size though. Do I really need it? Yeah, that was you. But so while she's doing that, I'm like trying to figure out what's going on, and like, yeah, sure enough, she was shoplifting. They called her.
Not me.
Not Hannah,
Not
but the
me.
girl she was shoplifting. Yeah, and
There was a
they
girl in
called her.
there
So
shoplifting, and you didn't tell me until we walked
right,
out, and I see some cops, and I'm like, "Why are there cops going in Sephora?" And you're like, "You didn't see what was going on?" And I'm like, "Did I," like, I'm thinking, "Did something fall in my
right.
purse? Like, am
She's like,
I in
oh, they got
trouble?"
me.
Like,
They
I was
got
getting
me.
paranoid. I'm like, "What did I do? Like, what happened?" And he's like, "There was a girl in there who got arrested for shoplifting, like,
Yeah.
they brought her to the back and
She was
everything."
completely clueless. She's like, "Dang, I missed it."
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
kinda
yeah, you did.
butthurt.
Yeah, you
I
did.
completely missed it, but
That was
then
a
we were
fun one.
like, "We gotta go home. We gotta go
Yeah.
to the hotel."
Oh, I was too far gone at that point. Like that was
Yeah.
that was terrifying. Almost. It was like right on the brink of insanity, but
Oh my
no.
gosh. Alright, I think there's more,
Yeah,
but we should wrap there.
we got a bunch of stories, but we don't want to keep these episodes too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was fun
This
though.
was fun,
This
yeah.
was a fun episode. I feel like it was a little different than our normal thing. I know next week I really want to get back into like the hard-hitting topics like
Yeah.
WNBA pay, that's a big topic. I really want to break down our budget because there were a lot of questions about the 200K salary video.
Yeah.
That one is just not
People just love to
ugh.
take stuff and run with it.
We'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about, the whole budget and
Yeah.
why cost of living really matters to us making a good living versus living a luxurious lifestyle.
Yeah.
But we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for listening and listening to our 2 cents and our not so funny, kind of funny, in retrospect, funny stories of going on tour.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll have more after this tour.
Yeah. So, like always, drop us a like, drop a comment, let us know what you want to see.
If you
And
like this podcast, be sure to leave us a review, hopefully 5 stars. If not, tell us what we should work on. Constructive feedback is always appreciated, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
bye.